Beyoncé and Jay-Z are done. The Carter Empire is collapsing in real time, and the internet just uncovered a betrayal so brutal it could erase everything. Brandy's name is at the center of this nuclear scandal, and folks online are losing it. This whole situation has the internet spinning because what comes next will destroy legacies. Everybody thought they knew the full story about Beyoncé and Jay-Z. Lemonade dropped, Jay dropped 444, they did therapy, they forgave, they healed publicly, and became the ultimate redemption story that everyone believed in and rooted for. That was the version everyone repeated for years. But now, explosive blind items just detonated online, and the whole narrative is twisting violently. According to leaked industry whispers, Beyoncé allegedly just discovered a hidden betrayal that was never part of Lemonade or Jay's apology era. And the name being dragged into the fire? Brandy. Yes, that, Brandy. Within hours, the internet turned into full investigation mode, and once they lock onto a theory, it becomes reality whether there's proof or not. Now, let me break this down because the evidence fans are pulling together is insane, and it's spreading like wildfire across every platform. Anonymous blind items started circulating on celebrity gossip forums, claiming that Jay-Z's infidelity wasn't just about one affair or one mistake. People online are saying Beyoncé recently found out the full scope of what really happened, and it's way darker than what she thought she forgave him for. That's the claim that set everything off. And here's where it gets even crazier. Brandy's name started appearing in these blind items, and fans immediately went into detective mode. They started pulling up old interviews, rewatching award show interactions, analyzing body language from events that happened decades ago. Online detectives found clips where Beyoncé and Brandy were in the same room, and folks swear the energy was icy. They're slowing down frames, zooming in on facial expressions, comparing how Beyoncé interacts with other artists versus how she allegedly avoids Brandy entirely. And for anyone who doesn't know, Beyoncé and Brandy have never collaborated, not once, in over 25 years of both being at the top of R&B. That's not normal. These are two of the biggest voices in the same genre, same era, same circles, and there's zero professional overlap. Fans are now saying that wasn't coincidence. That was silent warfare. They're claiming Beyoncé has been strategically keeping distance for years, and nobody questioned it until now. But it gets even crazier. Ray J, Brandy's brother, did an interview a while back where he claimed Beyoncé refused to speak to Brandy during a tour they were both on. He said it was awkward and uncomfortable, and Brandy didn't understand why. At the time, people brushed it off as petty industry drama. But now, with these blind items exploding, fans are going back to that interview and saying Ray J was dropping clues. They're saying he knew something and was trying to hint at it without saying it directly. And online investigators took this to a whole new level. They started studying Brandy's career trajectory and comparing it to the timeline of Jay-Z and Beyoncé's relationship struggles. Folks online swear the timing matches up too perfectly. They're pointing out that Brandy's career momentum shifted around the same time Lemonade was being created. People are connecting dots, building conspiracy boards, and the internet is absolutely convinced there's something here. TMZ hasn't confirmed any of this. No official sources have come forward, but the volume of people analyzing every single detail has created a narrative so powerful that it's become the dominant story online, whether it's true or not. And here's the thing, when the internet decides on a narrative, it doesn't matter if there's hard proof. The story becomes the reality in the public mind. And right now, millions of people believe Brandy was involved in something that destroyed Beyoncé's trust, and that Jay-Z hid it for years. The blind items claim that Beyoncé's entire forgiveness era was built on partial truth, that she thought she knew everything, worked through it, and moved forward. But allegedly, she just found out there was a whole other layer she never knew about. And that discovery is what's allegedly destroying the marriage now, not back then. Now. fans are also dissecting the power dynamics involved, and that's where the conversation gets even more serious and uncomfortable. People are asking whether this alleged situation involved industry pressure or career leverage. Jay-Z was one of the most powerful men in music. Brandy was an artist trying to navigate her career. If there's any truth to these rumors, the internet is raising serious ethical questions about consent, power imbalance, and what really happens behind closed doors in the industry. That conversation is spreading fast, and it's adding a much darker layer to the entire scandal. It isn't just about infidelity anymore, it's about abuse of power. And that's the angle that's making this explode beyond typical celebrity gossip into something way more dangerous and damaging for everyone involved. Now let's get into the motive and the deeper backstory, because this is where everything starts clicking and the pieces of this puzzle start forming a picture that's absolutely devastating. To understand why this scandal is hitting so hard, you have to understand the Carter brand and what it represents. Beyoncé and Jay-Z didn't just build a marriage, they built an empire, a billion-dollar empire based on power, loyalty, Black excellence, and overcoming adversity together. When Lemonade dropped in 2016, it was a cultural earthquake. Beyoncé didn't just make an album, she made a visual masterpiece that documented pain, betrayal, and ultimately forgiveness in a way that resonated with millions of people, especially Black women who saw their own struggles reflected in her story. She turned her private trauma into public art, and people loved her for it. They respected her for choosing to stay and fight for her marriage instead of walking away. And then Jay-Z dropped 444 and the redemption arc was complete. He took accountability, he admitted his mistakes, he talked about therapy and growth and becoming a better man. Together, they sold the world on the idea that love can survive anything if you're willing to do the work. That narrative became their brand, and it worked. They became even more powerful, even more untouchable, even more respected. They were the ultimate power couple, the blueprint for how to survive public scandal and come out stronger. But here's the problem. If these blind items have any truth to them, that entire redemption arc was built on a lie. Not a full lie, but an incomplete truth. And that's almost worse, because it means Beyoncé forgave him for something she thought was the full story, when allegedly there was a whole other betrayal she didn't even know about. Think about it. She went through the pain, she processed it, she made lemonade, she worked through therapy, she chose to stay, she chose to forgive, and now, years later, she allegedly finds out there was more, something he never told her, something that completely changes the context of everything she thought she healed from. That kind of revelation doesn't just hurt, it destroys, because it means the foundation of the entire reconciliation was false. And that's why fans are reacting so intensely to this. It's not just about Jay-Z cheating, it's about the betrayal of the healing process. It's about Beyoncé being made to look like she forgave something when she didn't even know the full truth. And if that's what happened, the Carson who gets hurt the most in public perception is her, not him. Because now people are questioning her judgment. They're questioning whether she was naive. They're questioning whether the whole thing was performative. And that's brutal for someone who built their entire image on strength and control. Beyoncé has spent her entire career being perfect, untouchable, in control of every narrative. And this scandal, if true, takes that control away from her completely. Now let's talk about Brandy's side of this, because her career trajectory is a huge part of why people believe this story. Brandy was massive in the 90s and early 2000s. She was a multi-platinum artist, an actress, a household name. But somewhere along the way, her career momentum slowed down in a way that never fully made sense to fans. She's insanely talented. She has one of the most unique voices in R&B history, but she never reached the same level of sustained mainstream dominance that some of her peers did. And fans are now saying that wasn't just bad luck or changing industry trends. They're saying she was quietly blacklisted. Not publicly, not loudly, but in the way the industry operates behind the scenes, where certain doors just stop opening and nobody ever tells you why. People are claiming that Beyoncé's influence and Jay-Z's power made it so Brandy could never fully rise to the level she should have. And whether that's true or not, the timing of Brandy's career shifts is what has people convinced. Her momentum started fading around the same time Beyoncé and Jay-Z's relationship was reportedly going through turmoil. Fans are connecting those dots and saying it wasn't coincidence, it was intentional. They're saying Beyoncé made sure Brandy stayed out of certain spaces, and Jay-Z used his industry power to make sure she never became a threat or a reminder of whatever allegedly happened. And if that's true, it's not just about a personal betrayal, it's about using power to control someone's livelihood and career because of personal issues. That's a completely different level of scandal. And here's where it gets even messier. Brandy is in the middle of a comeback right now. She's been touring, doing interviews, reconnecting with fans, and reclaiming her legacy. But the timing of these allegations exploding is absolutely devastating for her. Because now, instead of her comeback being the story, this scandal is the story. And fans are noticing that in her recent interviews, she's been very careful, very controlled, almost like she's walking on eggshells. People are saying she's scared to say the wrong thing. They're saying she knows something but can't speak on it. And Monica, who's been doing interviews with Brandy as part of their joint appearances, is being accused of running interference. Fans are saying Monica is deliberately steering conversations away from certain topics to protect Brandy from accidentally revealing something or being pressured into addressing rumors she can't legally or safely respond to. Whether that's true or not, the perception is there, and once the internet decides someone is hiding something, they don't let it go. But here's the part that really hits different and makes this whole situation feel even more devastating on a human level. The people getting hurt the most in all of this aren't just celebrities with millions of dollars and PR teams. It's the fans who believed in the story. It's the women who saw themselves in Beyoncé's journey and used Lemonade as a soundtrack for their own healing. It's the couples who looked at Jay-Z's 444 and said, if they can make it work, maybe we can too. Those people invested emotionally in the Carter redemption arc. They believed in it. They rooted for it. They defended it when people questioned it. And now, if any of this is true, they feel betrayed too. Because it's not just about Beyoncé being lied to, it's about all of us being sold a narrative that wasn't real. And that kind of emotional manipulation, even if unintentional, leaves people feeling used, like their emotions were a marketing tool, like their belief in love and forgiveness and second chances was weaponized to sell albums and tour tickets and build a brand. And that hurts. You can see it in the comments under every post about the scandal. People aren't just angry at Jay-Z, they're heartbroken, they're disappointed, they're questioning everything they thought they knew about love and relationships and whether redemption is even real or just another performance for public consumption. And then there's Beyoncé herself. Forget the billionaire empire for a second, forget the brand, forget the legacy. Think about the woman. Imagine going through the pain of betrayal, choosing to forgive, doing the therapy, making the art, rebuilding the trust, and then years later finding out there was more. Finding out you didn't even have all the information when you made the decision to stay. That's not just heartbreak, that's a complete shattering of reality. It makes you question everything, every conversation, every apology, every promise, every moment you thought was real. And if she's truly dealing with that right now, the emotional toll must be unimaginable. Fans are also pointing out that Beyoncé has 3 children with Jay-Z, Blue Ivy, Rumi, and Sir. Those kids are growing up in the public eye, and this scandal is going to follow them. They're going to see the headlines. They're going to hear the rumors. They're going to have to navigate their parents' very public marital issues for the rest of their lives. And that's heartbreaking, because no matter how much money or fame or power you have, you can't protect your kids from the internet. You can't shield them from the narrative once it's out there. And that's something Beyoncé has always been fiercely protective about: her kids, her family, her private life. And now it's all being ripped open and dissected by millions of strangers. That's trauma for everyone involved. And here's the thing that makes this even worse. If Beyoncé chooses to leave Jay-Z now, she'll be questioned. People will ask why she stayed before. They'll accuse her of being performative. They'll say the whole Lemonade era was fake. But if she chooses to stay, people will say she's weak. They'll say she's choosing money and brand over self-respect. There's no winning move here for her. No matter what she does, she'll be judged. And that's the cruelest part of being a woman in the public eye dealing with private pain. Your trauma becomes entertainment, your healing becomes content, and your choices become public debate. That's messed up, and it's happening to her in real time. Now, this whole situation gets even crazier when you realize there's a second blind item that just dropped, and it's somehow even more explosive than the first one. This one isn't about the past, it's about right now. According to new anonymous industry sources, Beyoncé is allegedly no longer living with Jay-Z. The claim is that she's quietly moved out and is living a completely separate life. And here's where it gets absolutely wild. The blind item suggests she's not alone, that she's allegedly been spending time with someone who's been in her life for years, someone who's always been close, someone who's been there through everything, her bodyguard. Yes, you read that right. Fans are now speculating that Beyoncé has allegedly found comfort and possibly even a romantic connection with the person whose literal job is to protect her. And the internet is absolutely losing its mind over this theory. People are going back through years of footage, paparazzi photos, concert videos, and behind-the-scenes content, trying to find evidence of this alleged relationship. They're analyzing body language, they're looking at how close he stands to her, they're studying the way he looks at her, they're comparing his presence in her life before and after the alleged marital issues started, and folks online swear they're seeing proof. Now, let's keep it real. Everything is speculation until someone confirms it. But the volume of people digging into this and finding what they believe are clues is absolutely staggering. There are entire Twitter threads dedicated to this theory, TikTok videos with millions of views breaking down alleged evidence, Reddit forums where people are posting frame-by-frame analyses of Bodyguard interactions. The internet has turned this into a full-blown investigation. And whether it's true or not, the narrative has exploded because it fits too perfectly into the story people already believe. Beyoncé was betrayed, she's done forgiving, she's moved on. And the person she moved on with is someone who's been loyal to her, protected her, and seen her at her most vulnerable. It's almost poetic in a twisted way. And here's why this particular angle is spreading so fast. It's not just scandal, it's revenge. It's the idea that Beyoncé isn't just leaving Jay-Z, she's allegedly replacing him with someone better, someone who treats her right, someone who doesn't lie, someone who's been there when Jay-Z wasn't. And fans are obsessed with that narrative because it gives Beyoncé her power back. It makes her the one in control. It makes her the one who walked away and found something real. And after years of being the woman who forgave and stayed, people want to see her be the woman who said enough and chose herself. Whether that's what's actually happening or not, the story is already written in the public mind. But let's talk about the implications of this rumor, because it's not just about romance. If Beyoncé is truly no longer living with Jay-Z, that means the marriage is not just struggling, it's over, or at least on the edge of being over. And if that's the case, the business side of this becomes absolutely massive. Beyoncé and Jay-Z have joint business ventures, shared assets, investments, and a combined net worth of over $2 billion. A divorce wouldn't just be a personal split. It would be one of the most expensive and complicated divorces in entertainment history, and it would require dividing an empire that took decades to build. That's not something that happens quietly or quickly. That's years of legal battles, negotiations, public scrutiny, and media coverage. And here's where it gets even messier. If they divorce, both of their brands take a hit. Because the Carter brand isn't just about individual success, it's about them together. It's about the power couple image. It's about Black excellence and partnership, and building generational wealth as a unit. If that image collapses, it affects their business deals, their endorsements, their cultural influence, and their legacy. So even if the marriage is over emotionally, there's a massive incentive to keep it together publicly for as long as possible. And that's what makes this situation so complicated. Because fans don't know what's real and what's performance. They don't know if the marriage is truly over or if they're just going through a rough patch that's being exaggerated by internet rumors. And that uncertainty is what keeps people obsessed and digging for more information. Meanwhile, the blind items keep coming. New claims, new alleged details, new theories, and every single one adds fuel to the fire. People are saying there are NDAs involved, that there are people in the industry who know the truth but can't speak because they signed legal agreements, that there are leaked text messages that haven't been made public yet, that there are recordings, that there are witnesses. Whether any of that is true or not, the idea that there's hidden evidence out there keeps the story alive and growing. Because people believe if they dig hard enough, they'll find the smoking gun that proves everything. And that's what's driving the internet investigation machine into overdrive right now. And honestly, this whole situation is unfolding in a way that nobody could have predicted, because it's not just one scandal anymore. It's multiple layers of mess, all happening at the same time and feeding into each other. Let's talk about some of the side stories that are making this even more complicated and adding context that people are using to support their theories. First, there's the ongoing conversation about Jay-Z's past and how it's being re-examined in light of these new allegations. People are going back through his entire history, his relationships before Beyoncé, his business dealings, and his reputation in the industry. And what they're finding is a pattern of behavior that makes these new allegations feel more believable to a lot of people. There are old interviews where people hinted at Jay-Z's lifestyle and how he moved in the industry before he settled down. There are lyrics in his own songs that reference situations and behaviors that fans are now interpreting in a completely different light. People are saying he's been telling on himself for years through his music, but nobody was paying close enough attention. And now that these blind items have dropped, fans are going back and saying, wait, he literally said this in a song 10 years ago. That's making the allegations feel less like random gossip and more like confirmed truth in the minds of people who already want to believe the worst. Whether that's fair or not, it's the reality of how internet culture operates. Once people decide you're guilty, everything you've ever said or done gets reinterpreted as evidence. Then there's the issue of Brandy's health. And this is where things get really uncomfortable and potentially dangerous, because people are now speculating about her physical and mental well-being in relation to this scandal. A while back, Brandy dealt with facial paralysis. It was a medical issue that she spoke about publicly and worked to recover from. But now, with these affair rumors exploding, people online are connecting dots that shouldn't be connected and saying her health issues were caused by stress related to this alleged situation. There is zero proof of that, none, but the internet doesn't care. They're saying the stress of being involved in something this messy, the alleged pressure from powerful people, and the toll of keeping secrets for years caused her body to break down. That's a wild and completely unverified theory, but it's spreading, and that's dangerous because it's adding a layer of trauma and victimhood to Brandy's narrative that may not be accurate or fair to her. And then there's the Ray J factor. Brandy's brother has always been messy when it comes to celebrity drama. He's been involved in public feuds, leaked situations, and controversial moments throughout his entire career. And people are now going back through every interview he's ever done looking for clues about what he might know regarding his sister and the Carters. They're analyzing his word choices, his pauses, his facial expressions, and trying to decode hidden meanings in things he said years ago. Whether Ray J actually knows anything or was just talking casually in interviews, the internet has decided he dropped hints, and they're using those alleged hints as proof that the rumors are real. That's how powerful internet narratives become. People take innocent or unrelated comments and recontextualize them into a massive conspiracy. Another side angle that's getting attention is the way the music industry operates behind the scenes and how power protects power. Fans are pointing out that major celebrities almost never publicly address blind items or online rumors unless they're forced to. And they're saying that's because there's an unspoken rule in the industry that you don't confirm or deny gossip, because engaging with it gives it legitimacy. So the fact that Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Brandy are all staying completely silent right now is being interpreted two different ways. Some people say the silence means it's all fake and not worth responding to, but other people say the silence means it's real, and they're legally advised not to say anything because it would open the door to more questions, more scrutiny, and potential lawsuits. Both interpretations make sense depending on what you already believe. And that's the problem. Silence doesn't prove anything, but it also doesn't disprove anything, so the narrative just keeps growing in the vacuum. Also, people are talking about how this situation reflects broader issues in the entertainment industry around power, gender, and accountability. They're asking why women are always the ones whose careers get destroyed when powerful men are involved in scandals. They're pointing out that if these allegations are true, Jay-Z used his power and influence in ways that affected multiple people's lives and careers. But he's the one who will likely come out of this the least damaged, because that's how the industry works. Men get second chances. Men get redemption arcs. Men get to rebuild. Women get labeled. Women get blamed. Women get erased. And fans are angry about that. They're saying this whole situation is a perfect example of how systemic power imbalances play out in real time. And whether or not the specific details of this scandal are true, that broader conversation is absolutely valid and necessary. And this story is still unfolding, with way bigger implications than just one celebrity marriage falling apart. What we're seeing here is how public image and private truth collide in the most brutal way possible in the social media age. The bigger conversation is about whether we, as fans and consumers of celebrity culture, have the right to demand transparency from public figures about their personal lives. And if we don't have that right, why do we feel so entitled to it? And if we do have that right, where's the line between holding someone accountable and invading their privacy to the point of cruelty? These are questions without easy answers, but this scandal is forcing people to confront them. Because here's the reality. Beyoncé and Jay-Z chose to make their marital issues public when they released Lemonade and 444. They didn't have to do that. They could have handled everything privately, but they turned their pain into profit. They sold albums, sold out tours, won awards, and built their brand on the back of a redemption narrative that people emotionally invested in. So now that new information is allegedly coming out that contradicts that narrative, people feel betrayed. They feel like they were sold a lie. And they're not wrong for feeling that way. When you monetize your personal life, you open the door for public scrutiny. That's the trade-off. And now the Carters are dealing with the consequences of that choice. But it also raises the question of whether celebrities should be allowed to evolve their truth over time. Maybe Beyoncé forgave Jay-Z based on the information she had at the time. Maybe she genuinely believed the marriage was healed. Maybe she's only now finding out there was more to the story. Does that make Lemonade a lie? Or does it just make it an incomplete truth? And if it's incomplete, is she obligated to update the public on her current reality? Or is she allowed to keep that private even though she previously chose to go public? These are complicated ethical questions that don't have clear answers, and the internet is not interested in nuance. The internet wants clarity. It wants good guys and bad guys. It wants heroes and villains. And this situation is too messy for those clean categories. What we're also seeing is the weaponization of blind items and anonymous gossip in the digital age. 20 years ago, blind items stayed in niche gossip columns that most people never saw. But now they spread across Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube within hours and reach millions of people before anyone can fact-check them. And once they reach that level of saturation, the rumor becomes the reality in public perception. It doesn't matter if it's proven true or not, the damage is done, the reputation is affected, the legacy is altered. And that's a terrifying level of power for anonymous sources to have. Because if anyone can post a blind item and have it spread like wildfire, then anyone can be destroyed by rumors with zero accountability for the people spreading them. And here's the scariest part. Once a scandal reaches this level, denial doesn't erase it. If Beyoncé or Jay-Z or Brandy came out tomorrow and said, "None of this is true," a huge portion of people wouldn't believe them. They'd say it's PR damage control. They'd say they're protecting the brand. They'd say they're legally advised to deny everything. The trust is already broken, and once trust is broken with the public, it's almost impossible to rebuild. That's what makes this situation so devastating for everyone involved. Because whether the allegations are true or false, the damage is real. The narrative is out there, the speculation is spreading, and there's no way to put the genie back in the bottle. So where does this leave us? Because right now, the Carter Empire is in free fall, and nobody knows where it's going to land. The marriage that was supposed to be the ultimate blueprint for Black love and forgiveness is allegedly crumbling. The redemption arc that millions of people believed in is being questioned. The brand that took decades to build is facing potential collapse, and the silence from everyone involved is deafening. No statements, no denials, no clarifications, just silence. And that silence is being interpreted as guilt by the internet. People are saying if none of this was true, someone would have spoken up by now. Someone would have shut it down. But nobody has, and that's feeding the fire. There are now multiple possible outcomes, and none of them are good for the Carters. Outcome 1, they confirm the allegations are false, but the damage is already done and public trust is shattered. Outcome 2, they stay silent and let the rumors continue to grow until they become accepted as fact. Outcome 3, they confirm some version of the truth, which validates the internet's theories and destroys the redemption narrative permanently. Outcome 4, they divorce, which ends the Carter brand as we know it and divides a multi-billion-dollar empire in the most public and messy way possible. No matter which path they choose, there's pain, there's loss, there's damage, and there's no clean way out. And let's talk about what this means for Brandy, because she is caught in the middle of something that could define the rest of her career and her legacy. If these allegations are true, and she was involved in something that hurt Beyoncé, the Beehive will never forgive her. She'll be labeled a homewrecker, a betrayer, and someone who went after a married man. Her comeback will be overshadowed by scandal, her legacy will be rewritten. But if the allegations are false and she's just being dragged into internet conspiracy theories with no basis in reality, the damage is still done because her name is now permanently attached to this mess. Either way, she loses. And that's the cruelty of being a woman in the entertainment industry. Your reputation can be destroyed by rumors alone, and there's no real path to clearing your name once the internet has decided you're guilty. Fans are also speculating about what comes next. Will there be a tell-all interview? Will someone break their NDA? Will there be a leaked recording or text message that confirms the allegations? Will Beyoncé drop surprise music addressing the situation? Will Jay-Z go on another apology tour? Will they announce a separation? The internet is on edge, waiting for the next piece of information to drop. And every day that passes without clarification just makes the speculation more intense. People are checking gossip sites hourly. They're refreshing social media constantly. They're analyzing every single move the Carters make, looking for clues. This has become an obsession for millions of people, and that obsession isn't going away until there's resolution. That what if there never is resolution? What if this just becomes one of those unsolved celebrity mysteries that people debate forever? that's entirely possible. And in some ways, that's the worst outcome because it means the rumor lives forever without ever being proven or disproven. What's clear is that something massive is happening behind the scenes. You don't get this level of internet chaos without some kernel of truth fueling it. Whether that truth is as explosive as the rumors suggest, or much smaller and less dramatic, we don't know yet. But the fact that these blind items are spreading this fast and this far means someone with industry knowledge is talking. Someone is leaking information. Someone wants this story out there. And that raises the question, why? Who benefits from the Carter empire collapsing? Who benefits from Beyoncé and Jay-Z's brand being destroyed? Those are questions people are starting to ask, and they're leading to even deeper conspiracy theories about industry politics, power plays, and revenge plots. This situation is spiraling into something way bigger than just a cheating scandal. It's become a full-blown takedown attempt. Whether it succeeds or not depends entirely on what happens next. Stay locked in because this story is about to get even crazier and you do not want to miss what happens next. More details are dropping every single day. More clues are surfacing, more theories are being built, and reports say there's allegedly even more information that hasn't been leaked yet. Industry insiders are whispering that there are people who know the full truth and they're deciding whether or not to come forward. That means this could explode even further than it already has. We could be looking at the biggest celebrity scandal of the decade, and it's happening in real time right in front of us. So here's what I want to know from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think these blind items have any truth to them, or is this all just internet conspiracy running wild? Do you think Beyoncé and Jay-Z's marriage is really over, or are they gonna weather this storm like they've done before? And what do you think about Brandy being dragged into this? Is she a victim of rumors, or is there something we don't know? I want to hear your theories, I want to hear your opinions, and I want to hear whether you think the Carters can survive this, or if the empire is truly collapsing for good. Make sure you like this video if you found it insightful or if it gave you new information you didn't have before. Hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you don't miss a single update, because we are covering every twist, every turn, every leak, and every development as this story continues to unfold. This is not slowing down. This is escalating, and you're going to want to be here when the next bombshell drops, because trust me, it's coming. The internet does not let scandals this big die quietly. Someone is going to talk. Someone is going to confirm or deny. Someone is going to break. And when that happens, it's going to be nuclear. I appreciate you for rocking with me and being part of this community where we break down the stories that everyone is talking about, but nobody is explaining with full context. That's what we do here. We go deeper. We ask the hard questions. We look at the evidence, we explore the implications, and we don't just accept the surface level narrative. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there, and remember, in the age of social media, your reputation can be destroyed in seconds by rumors you can't control. Protect your truth, protect your peace, and never let the internet write your story for you. Peace.